And we are live. Greetings, Otaku Faithful. Thank you for joining us tonight. Once again, this is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. And I am joined here tonight with my two special guest hosts. Go ahead, Ugo.
My bad. This is Ugo Strange, two-time savior of the world, the AJ Styles of the internet. You know who it is.
And this is your boy Uber Hikari, aka the Nerd Nigga, here with my brother Larry to do a video with no frills, just the analysis.
And we've joined the mega powers, our superpowers. Pretty much, we're here to bring you all the world debut of my new segment entitled OAW Late Nite, and that's right here on Otaku Assemble! Weekly, finally back from hiatus. I think all three of us have taken hiatus on our respective channels.
I didn't take a hiatus. I took a dirt nap.
But we're finally back, and okay, so what we're doing tonight is for all of my viewers, first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for checking us out. If you're watching this live, thank you very much for tuning in tonight, and if you're watching this online after a fact, once again, thank you so much for joining us. So pretty much what we're doing tonight is we're kicking off the debut of a new segment entitled OAW Late Nite. And the idea of OAW Late Nite is that this is going to be a new weekly live stream that we'll be doing pretty much for the next few months. We actually have, we'll be doing this in season. So this will kick off the first season, the spring 2017 season of OAW Late Nite. And what OAW Late Nite will consist of is this will be a live stream consisting of 3 segments. The first segment is OAW Late Nite, which will this will have a different topic, a different subject. It will pretty much be sort of a different segment every week that you all will see, and we'll get in more detail with that in a minute. And then after the OAW Late Nite segment, we'll do the return of the discussion of the week segment. You'll be getting those live recordings every Saturday night right after OAW Late Nite, and then we'll be doing the return of the Advice Corner segment, and we'll be doing that after discussion of the week. And so for all of you all watching at home, pretty much if you tune in on Saturday night, you'll be able to see the live recording of all 3 of these segments on OAW Late Nite. And if you missed the live recording, don't worry, because each one of the segments will later be uploaded individual as their own respective videos later on throughout the week. So first, let's go ahead and let's kick things off with the first segment, which is the titular segment, OAW Late Nite. And the topic for this week, or the special segment for this week, this is going to be a top 5. And what I've decided to do is I wanted to go ahead and let's discuss our top 5 most anticipated films of 2017. Now, as of this recording, it's February 4th, 2017. We're only a month into the new year. We've had some a string of films come out already in theaters. We're still in award season because we don't have the Oscars until what, another 3 weeks, I think. So we're still in the middle of award season. We still got movies coming out, and I'm not sure if any movie that's already come out is on any of our most anticipated films list. I'm hoping it's not. That's why I decided to do the top.
No, it's not. Well, not mine.
What about you, Ugo? Is there a movie that's already come out that's on your list?
There was Split, but I mean, I already saw that, so.
Oh,
that's all good.
So you substituted another movie?
Yeah, I substituted basically.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to kick things off. What we'll do is I got ahead. I went ahead, got the time on the clock. So we'll go around the table, and we'll each list, our top 5. We'll do one at a time, starting at number 5, and then finally rounding things off at number 1. And as I mentioned to you guys offline, I also mentioned to the viewers, if there is a film that actually appears on one of our other lists, and it's just at a different number, we'll also go ahead, chime in, and discuss that film at that time. So what I'm going to do, since you already wrote a blog on this, which Ugo, at this time, feel free to shamelessly plug your blog.
All right, so you guys can find me at thestrangeverse.blogspot.com. I still blog basically here and there, but I mean, that's the only thing I've been updating since my YouTube channel. So if you guys want more content from me, check out the blog. So anyway, we jumping into it?
Yeah.
We're doing it.
So since Ugo's already written an article on his blog listing his most anticipated films of 2017. So I'll have Ugo start things off with your number 5 film.
All right. Some of these aren't on my blog, and some of these don't have trailers to them, which is why I don't link them on my blog. But anyway, I'm gonna go from 5 to 1. So
well, give us your 5 first, and then so we'll go around the table with each one of our 5, and then we'll do the 4, and then the 3, the 2, and then the 1. So start us off with your number 5.
You got it. All right. So number 5 is A Cure for Wellness. This stars Dane DeHaan. It's directed by Gore Verbinski. I really like Dane DeHaan. He was Homeboy in Chronicle, and I thought he was really good in that. So this movie just looks weird. It takes place in a mental asylum. Jason Isaacs in it. I love Jason Isaacs. So really looking forward to this one. The reason it's so low on the list is because I don't know that much going into it. So I'm really excited about what it's going to be. If it's going to be what I think it's going to be, it has like a Shutter Island type quality to it. So that's my number 5.
Okay.
Hikari, did that make your list? That wasn't on one of mine, but I thought about it.
I haven't even. This is my first time hearing about that movie. I mean,
I went and looked it up yesterday, and but it wasn't. I wasn't like curious enough about it to put it on my list. So Hikari, hit us off with your number 5 now.
My number 5, Blade Runner 2049. Really? Yeah, man, I'm excited to see this. I really want to see what they do different from the original Blade Runner. It's interesting because a significant portion of people weren't even alive when the original Blade Runner came out. So they probably don't even remember the context in which the movie was made. They probably don't even remember how new and interesting the cinematography was, or the tones and the mood that the movie evoked. And I just want to see how that is going to transition from when it was made, I think in the late 70s to 2017. Also, it's being directed by a guy named Denis Villeneuve, French guy. He's the guy who did Sicario, which was an awesome movie. And apparently he just did another awesome movie called Arrival. So I definitely want to see that. So the reason why this is number 5 on my list mostly is because I'm a huge fan of that sort of cyberpunk type feeling of subgenre of sci-fi. So that's why it's number 5 on my list.
It basically created a genre. So
yeah, it did. See that, but that's the main reason why I didn't do. I'm not looking forward to that movie. I'm not. I'm like it's. Yeah, I'm not. It's too late. It's too late. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm getting the Force Awakens feeling. I'm like, okay, you're doing a sequel to a classic sci-fi film, but you're doing this decades after the fact. It just didn't appeal to me.
Yeah, I heard some people say that. They said that when Blade Runner first came out, it was new, and now when Blade Runner comes out again, it's going to be old.
Well, it all depends. It all depends on where they take the movie. So I'm interested. It's not on my list because I figured it was going to be obvious. Basically on my list, I took out all the obvious ones. Like if we have to say, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to Star Wars and all of these things, then clearly you guys don't know us. Like, of course some nerd stuff's going to be on this list. I just stayed away from the obvious. Go ahead, Larry.
All right, yeah. So when I did do it, I actually had difficulty making my list, and that's just because most of there's a bunch of movies coming out this year that I have no interest in, and there are some that I already know what I'm going to get. There's some I already know what I'm going to get. So I went for the movies that I was either intrigued by, pretty much intrigued by. Ones I'm either intrigued by or curious about. So like my number 5, and this is on my list just because this is this low, because I get the feeling it's going to suck. And that is King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. It's the it's the Guy Ritchie directed, Charlie Hunnam starring King Arthur story. And here's the thing, I get the feeling this movie's gonna suck because it's been pushed back 3 times. This movie was supposed to come out last year, and they've pushed it back 3 times. Usually when and this is Warner Brothers. So usually when Warner Brothers, because the last time I seen Warner Brothers handle a movie like this was Jupiter Ascending. And I understand that it was because of the whole Warner Brothers Legendary Pictures divorce split, but still, Jupiter Descending got pushed back 3 times, and that was a major motion picture, huge budget, and lo and behold, yeah, that movie sucked. Seventh Son was along with that movie as well. Pushed back multiple times, because I remember seeing the trailer for that during Pacific Rim, and that didn't come out for like damn near 2 years later, and that one sucked. So the fact that this movie's been pushed back that much, I get the feeling it's going to be bad. That being said, I love King Arthur. I love Charlie Hunnam. And I like Guy Ritchie. I'm hoping it's good. I'm not feeling very confident about it.
I can't imagine it's going to be any good. I mean, this feels like, you know, The Rock and Hercules. That's what this feels like.
Yeah.
One of those movies where you have to take some myth or some legend and make it new for 2017 or whatever, and it's just, I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, dude, and that's the other thing too. I saw the trailer for it back in December, and it was supposed to come out in March, and they done already pushed it back again to May. So I'm like,
we'll see. Reason why they pushing it back?
Not that I know of, not at this moment. But we'll see. So go ahead, Ugo. What's your number 4?
I just wanted to say, when was the last time a King Arthur movie like really did something crazy in the box office? Because I was interested in seeing that one they did few years back with Keira Knightley and Clive Owen, and that did nothing.
But I like that movie though.
I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying like it did nothing in the box office. I'm just saying like,
yeah, that's true.
When's the last time because they do the same thing with Robin Hood too, and it's like.
But I like the last Robin Hood movie, dude. Okay. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for those like King Arthur, Robin Hood, Beowulf. I love those stories. So
you must be a sucker for heartbreak then.
Yeah.
All been bad.
Yeah. Well, hang on, hold up. But okay, a discussion for another time. I'll debate you on that Ridley Scott. No, that wasn't Ridley. That was Tony Scott, right? The Robin Hood, or was that Ridley? Who one of the Scotts? Anyway, but that Russell Crowe Robin Hood, we can go toe to toe on that one.
It was cool. It was cool. I had no problem with that.
We can go toe to toe on that one. But anyway, you go. You're number 4.
Number 4. Anyway, number 4. Again, no trailer for this one yet. Is God Particle. Now here's the confusing thing. There's already another movie called God Particle. Not that movie. This movie is said to be the 3rd part in J.J. Abrams' Cloverfield trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be an anthology movie.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I really love the Cloverfield universe. I love Cloverfield. Really love 10 Cloverfield Lane. So if this movie ties into that or is a part of that universe, I want to see more of it. So that's my number 4. Again, no trailer for it yet. So yeah, that's my number 4. God Particle.
Almost made my list. But I had to cut it down to 5, and it was getting real difficult, and that one had to go. And plus, I'm not really intrigued by an anthology movie. Not my cup of tea.
I still haven't figured out how the Cloverfield trilogy works. I haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane yet. I haven't seen that yet. So, and then when I looked up God Particle, pretty much. I have no opinion on God Particle one way or the other yet. There's too little information.
Larry, put it like this. Cloverfield is just a title like Twilight Zone. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. Twilight Zone is an idea. Cloverfield is an idea of like strange stuff happening. That's the only way that the movies link together. That's it.
Okay, I got you.
Alien stuff happening.
I got you. So what about you, Hikari?
Number 4 on my list is Power Rangers.
Really?
Man.
Really?
Yes, man. I cannot tell you when I was a kid, Power Rangers. It was all Power Rangers. That's all it was in my house was Power Rangers.
That's every '90s kid, Uber. You talking about my childhood right there.
Power Rangers, and I remember the original film. I'm old enough to remember the original series, and this one looks pretty good. This one is not one of them bullshit remakes, from what I can tell. It looks interesting because the kids look interesting that are going to be in the film. At one point, somebody makes the remark that they're all screw ups. So this is going to be an updated version, a little bit more realistic, not necessarily dark and edgy, but just a little more realism, which I like in my movies. I think it's going to make the characters a lot more relatable. And it just looks cool as hell, man. It just looks cool. So
yeah, I'm curious to see it. But not most 5 most anticipated. That I'm curious, but not that would have been if we did a top 10. Power Rangers would have made my list, not a top 5. All right.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Larry. No. Go ahead. Because I'll talk more about it when I get to number 1. Go ahead.
Okay. So my number 4, and this is the only MCU film on my list. So I'm gonna let go ahead. This shocker. There's only one Marvel film on my list, and it's Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, wow, that's surprising. I thought it would have been Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Here's the thing about that. I haven't made up my mind about Homecoming yet. I haven't made up my mind about it yet. The jury's still out on that one for me. And here's the thing, Guardians, I know what I'm going to get with Guardians. I know exactly what I'm going to get with Guardians. I'm going to get much of what I got the first time, which that's not a bad thing, but like I said, it's expected. Thor Ragnarok, on the other hand, though, the reason I'm more interested in that is, number 1, it's the first Thor movie that we're getting that doesn't have anything to do with what's going on Earth, number 1.
Right.
Number 2, it had the cast, like Kate Blanchett playing Hela. I'm waiting for that one performance will make me is what's really drawing me that. Now, granted, we got Tessa Thompson doing Valkyrie. I want to see that one. I want to see that performance as well. And then we got Cumberbatch coming back to do Doc Strange. He has a small role in that movie, so I'm interested in that. The one downer I will say, though, the integration of the Planet Hulk storyline. I don't like Planet Hulk. I don't care for it. I don't know why it's in this film, and I've read the synopsis for the film. I don't know how this ties in, but like I said, of all the Marvel movies, it's the one I'm the most curious about. It's the one I'm the most intrigued by, because I know what I'm getting with Guardians, and I don't have an opinion. I can't make up my mind about Spider-Man yet. So that's why Thor Ragnarok got number 4 on my list.
If I was going to be interested in Thor Ragnarok, the only reason would be because I've actually read the comics. And that comic in particular was actually pretty good. It was a pretty good Thor comic. But I've also read Planet Hulk, and I know that those two comics have absolutely nothing to do with each other. So I'm with you on this, Larry. I don't know how they could possibly integrate those storylines.
Right.
From what it looks like, Jeff Goldblum's character is probably setting up some kind of gladiatorial battle or something. I feel like this is going to be like Secret Wars, but with Thor. And I haven't read the synopsis, so maybe you can correct me, Larry, but I feel like it's going to be very Secret Wars with Thor and Hulk in it. That's from what it sounds like.
This is what I got from the short synopsis. Thor has to fight the Hulk in this gladiator battle, and he has to do it in time to be able to save Asgard from falling prey to Hela and what she's planning on doing in Asgard. Like I said, I don't know how you connect those two. I don't know how Thor finds himself in that conflict in the first place. I don't know how that ties into what happened with Loki at the end of Dark World. I don't know how that ties. Well, I know how it ties into Thor's vision in Age of Ultron, but we already know that Thor's vision in Age of Ultron was shoehorned in so that the Avengers could be aware of the Infinity Stone. So I don't even know how you take that from Thor's vision into what actually, I don't know how they connect it. That's why I said I'm looking forward to seeing how they pull it off.
Right.
Okay,
well,
prediction. Go ahead.
The thing about the Thor films is that they're simply the weakest films in the MCU.
That's true too. Well, yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, I know how you feel about Iron Man, so you know.
Yeah. All right.
Prediction.
So go ahead.
Here's how it's going to tie in, and maybe I'm wrong, but if it comes out and everybody sees it, I'm going to look like a genius right now. So let me say this. So prediction: the Game Master, Jeff Goldblum's character, when Hulk left at the end of Age of Ultron, he got abducted by Jeff Goldblum's character, and basically Bruce Banner's been with the Game Master, just like clobbering people in gladiatorial fights. That's what he's been doing since Civil War to now. That's what he's been doing. So now the Hulk is kind of like his prize fighter, his prize champion, you know? And it's like, oh, here's Valhalla. Let's conquer it. I got Hulk here, and he's, you know, Hulk smash. You know, I got the Hulk here. He's my prize fighter going against Thor. And maybe the two don't know that one of them's there and the other's there. But now it's like Bruce Banner has found his calling in life. You know, he found a place where he can be the Hulk without having to worry about hurting anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because now this guy is actually letting him do this thing, letting him destroy stuff, and he's being praised for it, and not like, you know, having people have to worry about things and all that. So maybe that's how the two are going to relate.
I did, when I read the synopsis, I did have an idea of how Thor would get mixed up in this whole thing. But then I thought back to the post-credit scene of Doc Strange, and I'm like, no, it doesn't add up. So we'll see. But anyway, Ugo, so give us your number 3.
Number 3, obvious, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Mm.
He's my favorite superhero. I've been waiting for the boy to come home. He's come home. He's back with Marvel. I love him. I liked him in Civil War. I feel like they did a really good job of making him seem young and experienced while at the same time making him seem strong and capable. So I really like this. I like the fact that it has the Vulture in it, and it's Michael Keaton, who looks like he's going to be great in that role. So, you know, the fact that Spider-Man's home now and it's in the Marvel world and he's there, I'm like, yeah, this is the one I need to see. If it wasn't Toby, I'm glad it's this dude. So he's home now. The boy's home. So now I can get behind him again.
Man, it seems like the reasons why you like the film is why I dislike it. I mean, you know, I'm just not one for kids. I don't relate to kids well, especially 15, 16. I mean, that's just not me.
Put it like this, Uber. I don't either. But I like the fact that he's a younger face in that world. Because he had the same reaction in Civil War that any high school kid would have in that kind of situation where it's like, you got a metal arm? Dude, that's so cool. And Falcon's like, yo, you're not supposed to be talking right now. Like, let's fight. And he's like, oh, yeah. And then when him and Cap sort of bonded because they're both from New York. And, you know, so it's like, I like what they're doing with this character. He's young, he's inexperienced, but he's also very capable. He has Tony Stark to banter with, and that's going to be great because, again, like Larry said, you can't get two geniuses in a room without them becoming instant friends. And now Tony Stark is like, yeah, whatever. This kid is, yeah, go away, kid. You know, I like it. I like what they're doing with this. So, you know, I'm excited to see it.
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle for all the reasons that Ugo is excited for that movie. I'm kind of on the same page, but then at the same time, I'm with Hikari. I'm like, it's they're kids, and it's very much appealing to the demographic of high schoolers today. Right. And that's what's kind of throwing me off, because here's the thing. For all intent and purpose, you could pretty much go back to the very first Spider-Man film, and the way they deal with high school in that film for the first act of that movie, it's kind of timeless for the most part. It's not as much of a timestamp as you would think. It's not like Smallville, where you watch Smallville and it's like, no, clearly this is early 2000s. It's not like that. Despite the fact, and remember, that movie came out the spring of 2002. So this was like Smallville season 1, at the end of season 1. But between those two examples I just gave you, one acts more like a timestamp. One is a little bit more timeless. This movie does not seem to be timeless. It very much seems to be a timestamp, where it's like, no, this is about high schoolers in 2016, 2017. I just have there's a demographic gap.
Right.
And I'm hoping the movie can bridge it for me. But like I said, the jury's still out on it for me. I'm just gonna have to see it. I'm just going to have to see it.
I feel you, and I understand that. But the way I see it, Spider-Man is us. Like, Spider-Man is the nerd that got the superpowers. That's the way I see it. So, like, I love Spider-Man. Like,
right
now, again, the boy's home, and no Uncle Ben story. How many Uncle Bens must die? How many? No Uncle Ben. So that's already been taken care of. So, yes, no origin story. We're just going straight to it. So, I'm happy.
The thing that's most interesting to me about Spider-Man in the new MCU is how are they going to deal with the moral question of Spider-Man basically being a child soldier? I mean, because he's recruited by Tony Stark to fight, I mean, essentially in a war. So how are they going to deal with that question? I mean, to me, that's the most interesting aspect of the story, because Spider-Man Homecoming has to really integrate itself into the MCU. And if it's going to do that, then Spider-Man has to be a part of the larger war that's coming, that's foreshadowed.
Yeah, and I think if they don't, I'll go ahead and I'll give them this. I think that should be addressed in this movie, because it was mistakenly overlooked in Civil War, which I thought was one of the big mistakes about Civil War, because we opened that movie with Tony learning about, like, oh, you know, this is your collateral damage, and then he proceeds with recruiting a kid for this battle. So the fact that Civil War didn't address it the way they should have, I'm hoping that this movie does. But I tell you this, I'll give them this credit, or not credit, pass. I'll give them this pass, this excuse. If they don't address it in Homecoming, I'm pretty positive it will be addressed by Infinity War, because Peter is going to be in Infinity War. I'm almost certain if it's not done before, then it will be addressed in Infinity War.
And another major question I have is, did he sign the UN the whole thing about not Civil War, about
you talk about the event, you talk about the thing in the event, Civil War, the Accords?
Right, yeah. I mean, is he going to sign the Accords?
Peter didn't sign that, no.
I mean, so what's up with him?
Peter's not technically a superhero. Like,
yeah,
no one knows about him. He's like Daredevil and Iron Fist right now.
Recruited by Tony Stark to fight in the war. I mean,
Peter is still, before, as of now, because the movie hasn't come out yet, Peter is pretty much he's still like an urban myth.
So a vigilante type.
Yes, very much so.
All
yeah,
right.
He doesn't get his full endorsement until the movie.
Okay, so all right.
So Hikari, your number 3.
My number 3, War for the Planet of the Apes. Man,
I almost put that on my list. Almost.
Man, are we getting ready for a treat? Jesus, everything about this whole series, because I'm not old enough to remember the old Planet of the Apes. I'm just old enough to remember that shitty reboot they did with what's his face, Mark Wahlberg, that shitty one. So I just remember like this one, man. This one is great, man.
I can go ahead along with Robin Hood. I'll go ahead and debate you on that on Burton's Planet of the Apes. But go ahead.
Jesus, and Andy Serkis, man. He's the best character in the series, and he's the best actor in the series. I mean, this
he's gonna have his hands full with Woody Harrelson there, but we'll see.
And I think one of the interesting things about this movie that's coming up, War for the Planet of the Apes, is that a lot of people are assuming that the apes are going to win, and I'm not so convinced that that's the case.
Yeah. That movie almost, like I said, if this was a top 10, that would have made it on my list. Definitely. All right, my number 3, and this one is straight curiosity, straight intrigue. The Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is, I know very little about this. All I know is that it is based off of a French science fiction comic book series. And I know it's done by it's directed by Luke Besson, the director of Leon the Professional and Lucy.
And The Fifth Element.
And Fifth Element. Dude, I went and looked old boy up. He's done a ton of work. Like his portfolio is stacked. But the reason why
Nikita, Fifth Element, Lucy, Leon. Yeah.
The reason why I put it on my list and why it's at number 3, it's right in the middle, is because, like I said, 100% intrigue. But the reason why I'm looking forward to it, number 1, it's new. It's new.
Right.
Yes, it's an adaptation, but it's an adaptation of something that, for the most part, most Americans are not familiar with.
Right.
Number 2, it's a bona fide sci-fi franchise that isn't Star Wars and isn't owned by Disney. So it's not Star Wars, it's not John Carter, it's not Guardians. It's a bona fide space opera, and Disney they don't own it. So
John Carter, rest in peace, by the way.
Right.
Jesus.
So pretty much this is pretty much on my list because I want to check it out. I'm hoping it does very well. I'm hoping people actually go out and see it. And also a nod over to Ugo. It got homeboy from Chronicle stars in it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's my number 3. That's my number 3. So Ugo, go ahead and hit us with your number 2.
Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
You went for you went for obvious, sir.
Well, okay.
You went for obvious.
The reason why, out of all the comic book movies that are coming out, the reason why Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 I'm looking forward to is Guardians of the Galaxy. For everything that's going against it, the first movie was phenomenal. Like, that was probably the most fun I had with a movie in a long time, with like a space movie and all that. The most fun I had. And look at the character you got. You got a raccoon. You got a talking tree that can only say one word, or 3 words actually.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about the first movie.
Okay.
You got a talking tree that can only say 3 words. You got an amazing cast. You got great interplay with them. It's a funny script. It's poignant. You got real life stakes. The second movie is going to be great. So that's why, out of all the comic book movies that came out, this was the movie that everybody's like, I can't believe they're doing this. This is going to be stupid. And it's like, no. You got Vin Diesel getting paid to just say 3 words. You know, you got Bradley Cooper as a raccoon. And the movie is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's almost fully CGI. That's the trippy thing too. It's all CGI, but it's gonna be amazing. You know, for what they tried to do with Suicide Squad with unknown characters and whatnot and pushed them to the limelight. Guardians of the Galaxy came out of nowhere. You took not even C-class, you took D-class characters, gave them their own movie, and made it work. Well done.
Right. I agree with everything you're saying, Ugo. The only reason why I didn't make my list is because I know what I'm going to get.
There we go. That's what I said.
I know what I'm going to get too, but I'm just saying, like, out of all the comic book movies that are coming out, because there are very few movies, like Larry said, that are coming out that actually look interesting, but this is the one that I'm most hyped to see. So there we go. It's obvious, yes, but there we go. That's number 2.
All right, Hikari, what's your number 2?
My number 2, John Wick.
2. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I know what I'm gonna get, and what I'm gonna get is gonna be awesome sauce.
Dude, that's coming out what? 2 weeks? That's coming out soon.
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
I just know it's gonna be awesome, man. I mean, Keanu Reeves just plays these roles so well. The world weary, worn down killer. I mean, he's just made for these roles. I mean, I even love the not so great movies he played, even like Street Kings. I love Street Kings just because
I did like Street
Keanu
Kings.
Reeves. I mean, this guy is just, I mean, he's a very unconventional badass. I mean,
he is
a very, very low affect a little bit monotone, but he just plays the role so well, man. I just, and I love the first movie, man. The first movie was awesome, had a very intriguing world building. So I know what I'm going to get, and it's going to be awesome.
I remember there being some talk some years back about them wanting to make a Cowboy Bebop movie with Keanu Reeves as Spike. Mm-hmm. And back then I was like, nah, man. But after seeing John Wick, I was like, okay, that could work. It all depends, but that could work now. But so after seeing John Wick, I'm like, all right.
I think Spike Spiegel is a little too saucy for Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, and then
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So my number two is actually coming out really, really soon. And I'm looking forward to checking it out. Get Out. Get Out. Yes.
Jordan Peele's movie.
It is an upcoming horror film by Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
From Key and Peele. Which I will take this moment.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I will take this moment. Shout out to Jordan Peele. I know him and Key are fans of some of my vids.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait. When did this happen? When did this come about?
Dude, you don't remember the whole Von Davion thing?
I wasn't around for that. You got to update me on that, but we'll talk about that later.
Long story short, Key and Peele made a character. They parodied me because they used to watch my Game of Thrones reviews.
Wow.
You didn't know about this?
No, you never told me
something about this.
Dude,
you never told me this.
I did tell you this because Maine told me. That's how I found out.
Maine don't tell me nothing.
All right. Anyway, so not to get too far off topic, but like I said, I know they've watched my videos before in the past. So Jordan Peele, if you're watching this, or if anybody knows Jordan, go shout out to you, bro. This movie for me, it has less to do. I mean, I'm intrigued in the premise because, long story short, think Stepford Wives, but about race. So genius premise, number one. Why hasn't anyone done this yet? But number two, for me, it had, as much as I'm intrigued about the film itself, it has to do with a young black talent, which is Jordan Peele as a writer and a director, because he wrote it too. He wrote and he wrote the script, and this is his directorial debut. And then not only that, but he's also acting as an artist because Jordan Peele made his career in comedy. He's breaking out of that entirely to do a horror film. So he's making a genre jump. So all of that being said, I really want this film to succeed. I feel I want to invest in his success. Right. So I'm hoping that this film is a success. So that's why I put it. I mean, it was damn near my number one. That I'm really looking forward to this film. I hope it does really well. All right, so Ugo, give us your number one.
Like Uber already let the cat out of the bag. It's Power Rangers.
Oh, Power Rangers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But here's the thing. This movie could either be really good or it could be really bad. Yeah. And from the trailers, I'm like, okay, the trailers look cool, but a cool trailer does not a good movie make. So I'm just basically going in this with like, they're making, because from everything I read about it, they're making it purely an American Power Rangers. Like it has nothing to do with the Sentai. In this Power Rangers, and no spoilers here, but Rita is an ex-Green Ranger, so she has the Green Ranger coin. Zordon is a former Red Ranger. Alpha's kind of like a robotic alien. They mention Lord Zed in the movie. He's mentioned in the synopsis, so I'm like, okay, Lord Zed. And Lord Zed was a non-Sentai creation. So everything about this movie looks like they're trying to separate it away from the Sentai footage and make it its own American thing, which is like, all right, cool. And you're actually doing this. So they even talk about the Zeo crystal. So I loved Power Rangers Zeo. That was my jam. So it's like, if they do have a sequel, it's going to be like with the Zeo crystal and all that. So I'm really looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong. I got some misgivings about the film, but it's like, it's something worth seeing. I'll check it out because I'm like, this could either be really great or really bad. Lionsgate is already talking about doing 7 movies, and I'm like, slow your roll, you know. So there we go. That's my number 1, Power Rangers.
Yeah, you made a great point. Because I had forgotten for a moment that it was actually it was actually based on the Sentai stuff from Japan.
I had a whole video
so
based on that.
I was just thinking about it in terms of a purely American context. And now that you mentioned it, yeah, it does look like they're going to make that break. But I'm still excited to see it. I mean, just to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same boat. I mean, I've only seen the first trailer. I didn't feel the need to see the second one because right now I'm at the point where I'm like, just give me one trailer and I'm perfectly fine. Like I said, I mean, I'd have to see. I'm going to see it because I'm intrigued by it. I still think it looks too much like Chronicle.
You think so?
And oh yeah. Well, that based off the first trailer, it looks too much like Chronicle. And
yeah, it does a little bit now that I think about it.
Yeah, and then I mean, just in terms of like the way it looks, I'm kind of on the fence about. But I tell you what will sell me though, because I didn't know anything what Ugo was just talking about. So the fact that they're already developing a mythology with like Rita and Zordon being previous Rangers is okay. We're doing something with the mythology. I like that. I'll tell you what will sell me on it though. Rita has to be a badass. She's
a badass.
She has to be a fearsome villain.
She is very fearsome from what I've seen.
From the trailers, it looks like she's going to be some kind of, because she has a line where she says, "I've killed Rangers before." So I'm like, all right. So, and it's Elizabeth Banks, you know?
Yeah, well, right. But a woman that's an actress that's normally typecast in comedic roles.
She don't look like it here.
Here's the thing, though. Just because the trailer tells me she's a badass, let's not forget the Mandarin.
Right.
Oh, come on. That was a special case. That was that was a special type of retarded.
I'm just saying. But cool deal. All right, Hikari, what's your number 1?
My number 1 film is Logan.
Logan.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I'm not into the kid stuff. I'm into this more grown up, more cerebral, more psychological, more about character development, which is interesting because it's going against the grain of other MCU films and other DC films. So not big with the huge CGI mega fights, not huge with the huge global conflict. This is a story about one man trying to make a couple of things right.
The Last of Us 2, basically. The Last of Us movie.
Dude, I wasn't really too intrigued because I'm actually tired of the X-Men franchise at this point. So I wasn't too intrigued about Logan because I'm like, oh, they're doing Old Man Logan. But I will say this. I was fortunate enough, going back to what I was saying about trailers, I was fortunate enough to avoid the Logan trailer when it first came out, like the Logan trailer and the Power Rangers trailer. Both of them I avoided when they first came out. And I was fortunate enough to see those 2 trailers and the Rogue One trailer when I went and saw Doc Strange. And that was the first time I saw all 3 of those trailers. And that Logan trailer with that Johnny Cash boy, I'm like,
yeah, Johnny Cash, man.
I was like, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling it. So I'll check Logan out. Just, if nothing else, it has nothing to do with the other X-Men films. It's a standalone. So,
right, yeah.
So that in and of itself, I know I ain't got to deal with none of the bullshit continuity or any of that shit. Patrick Stewart is in it. I'll give it a go. Yeah, and X-23 is in it. So
that Mr. Sinister. Oh, he's going to be in it too?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Am I the only one who knows that? Shout out Mr. Sinister. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I knew about that.
Shout out Cody Rhodes.
But yeah, man, that Johnny Cash just gives it a certain emotional weight to it, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that emotional impact. That's what I want.
Yeah. So my number 1, and I had completely forgotten.
Drum roll, drum roll.
Wait, can you guess what it is though? I'm curious. Can you guess what it is?
Not at all. Not at all.
Nah, your tastes are too eclectic for me. I don't know.
All right. So my number one, and I had completely forgot this movie was coming out, but I've been following it. I've been keeping up with it. Dark Tower.
Oh, that almost made no minds.
No.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
Now I gotta get the gloves on.
And,
Go ahead, Larry.
And here's the thing. The reason why I'm anticipating this movie more so than any of the others is because I've been waiting for a Dark Tower film. Well, shit, and not even way before they would even talk about doing a film. Way back years ago when they were talking about doing the miniseries on HBO, and then I think at one point ABC had it, and they were talking about adapting it. And then, I mean, dude, this project's been in developmental hell for well over a decade. And the fact now that they finally got a film made with Idris Elba as the star, and opposite him, Matthew McConaughey, they got my girl Catherine Winnick from Vikings in this. And the other thing too is, and this is what gets me the most. I have not read, actually, I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't read a single Dark Tower book. I haven't read a single Dark Tower book or the comics. I'm familiar enough with the story, but here's the thing: the movie is supposed to be a sequel. It's not supposed to be an adaptation of any of the
It's not going to be an adaptation.
So we're getting a relatively original story here. That is enough for me to be like, okay, now I don't have to worry about whether or not it holds up to the source material, what they did right, what they did wrong. I don't have to do any of that shit. I can just go in it fresh because I get to go in fresh with a franchise that I'm vaguely familiar with.
Right.
So and hopefully I get three kick-ass fucking performances out of it. So for me, Dark Tower is just more so a long time coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that movie could have stayed in developmental hell. Go ahead, Uber.
Really?
I'll let Uber talk, and then go ahead.
Now, the reason why you said you wanted to see it, Larry, because you could start fresh, is the reason why I don't want to see it. I was expecting an adaptation, and I don't want a new Dark Tower story.
Hate us. Go ahead, Ugo.
All right. So here's the thing: you could be vaguely familiar with Dark Tower, but like, there's knowing this much and knowing this much. Now, I've read all 7 books and the ancillary material like The Stand, Salem's Lot, It, all of that. So I'm very familiar with Dark Tower. And from what it looks like they're doing with the movie, it doesn't look like it's going to be a sequel to the Dark Tower at all because of the way the Dark Tower ended and with what happened with that. That being said, I don't know where this movie is going because I'm looking at the cast and I'm like, where's this character? Where's this character? Where's this character? And I don't know. It just doesn't look like it's going to be a Dark Tower that I'm familiar with. From everything that they
familiar with the source material.
Yeah, but like, it would be like doing Dragon Ball without Krillin. You know what I'm saying? Not Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball without Krillin.
Right.
You know? So I'm like, where's this character? Where's this character? Where's this character? You know, it's like, I'm on the fence about it because I don't know what they're doing with it. It doesn't look like anything that I recognize from the Dark Tower story. That being said, great cast. Idris Elba, he's going to do a great job as Roland of Gilead. No qualms about that. Matthew McConaughey.
Right.
Definitely not my first pick for Walter O'Dim, but I mean, Matthew McConaughey is a good actor. So, but I mean, I liked it better when they had Javier Bardem as Roland, because I really think he would have done some good with that especially after coming off of No Country for Old Men. So I don't know, but right now I'm familiar with, which is why I say it needs to spend a lot more time in the kitchen.
I got you. All right. So on that note, I would probably say any other closing thoughts, final thoughts on this segment, on the topic?
No, I think we covered this pretty well, actually.
I will say there were a few honorable mentions on my list. Well, I'll just mention one other one. This will kind of be an honorable mention, mainly because I don't know enough material about the movie yet. Disney and Pixar's Thanksgiving release for this year is a movie called Coco, and it has to do with a little boy. Long story short, little boy goes on an adventure where he travels to the land of the dead and discovers some secrets about his family's history. He also dreams of being a musician, and that's been sort of a no-no for his family. So I'm pretty sure the film, like, there's a mystery going on about why his family's like, no, under no circumstance, you know, we don't do music. So all of that is intriguing to me. But the reason why I say it's a an honorable mention, a few reasons. Number one, okay, it's having to deal with Day of the Dead. Book of Life pretty much nailed that when that film came out. So that's number one. Number two, it's this does feel like another Disney going out of their way to do a minority type of film. And I've already read up on the whole thing about how Disney tried to how they screwed up with the trademarks for the Day of the Dead, and there was a whole, you know, social political backlash about that type of thing. The long story short, I'm less likely to go see the film, seeing as how it's an animated film, until I see what the animation actually looks like. If the animation looks like crap, I'm not going to want to see it. That's just the truth. So I'm intrigued by the premise. I'm intrigued by the story a bit, but until I actually see what it's going to look like, yeah, I'm
right.
But I just wanted to mention that. Just wanted to mention that one film. So with that being said, this is going to go ahead and wrap up our OAW Late Night segment, which is the first segment of what is considered OAW Late Night as a whole. Just wrapping up that first segment. And so what do you guys fit? Do you guys think we need a break, or do you guys want to jump straight into the discussion of the week?
I think we could jump right into it.
Yeah, I can jump right into it. Let's do it.
All right. So for those of you all, I want to thank everybody, all 112 of my viewers, which is really good for the first debut for this new segment. I want to thank you all for watching this live. So once again, for those of you all who are watching this online after the fact, remember that we will be doing this every Saturday night, 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be doing the live recording of OAW Late Night, so please feel free to tune in then. If not, don't worry, because the recording of OAW Late Night will be available on Sunday nights on the OAW YouTube channel. For all of you all who have not tuned into it live, that's when you all will be able to see it, is on Sunday nights on my channel. So, so just a brief departure for those of you all just seeing that one segment. This has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief.
Ugo Strange
Uber Hikari.
And until next time, peace.